On Wednesday, September 10th, 2025, Evergreen High School's routine was shattered. Just after noon, students moved between classes, laughter and chatter echoing in the halls. It was a typical day, filled with the usual hustle and bustle of school life. Suddenly, a sharp, terrifying sound cut through the noise. The echo of a gunshot sent shockwaves through the corridors. Confusion turned to fear as emergency protocols kicked in. Teachers quickly ushered students into classrooms, locking doors and turning off lights. Sirens wailed, and the school went into lockdown. The once lively campus was now eerily silent, save for the distant wail of emergency vehicles. The community was thrust into chaos, glued to news updates and desperate for information. Parents, friends, and neighbors frantically checked their phones, hoping for any bit of news. Parents received frantic texts, news helicopters circled overhead. The air was thick with anxiety and fear. The Jefferson County Sheriff's Office worked to secure the campus, every minute feeling like an eternity. Officers moved swiftly, ensuring the safety of everyone inside. The town held its breath, united in shock and anxiety. People gathered outside the school, holding hands and praying for the safety of their loved ones. The only certainty, something terrible had happened at Evergreen High. The yellow police tape was a stark reminder of the unfolding tragedy. By late afternoon, authorities confirmed a shooting had occurred. The news spread quickly, sending ripples of shock through the community. 2 students were injured, the school was cleared, and reunification began at a nearby center. Parents and children embraced, tears of relief streaming down their faces. Tearful embraces marked the relief of many, but 2 families waited in agony, their children hospitalized, conditions unknown. The uncertainty was unbearable. The community's relief was tempered by deep concern for those caught in the crossfire. Candlelight vigils were held as people sought comfort in each other. As the sun set, Evergreen was forever changed. The once peaceful town now bore the scars of an unimaginable event. The yellow police tape around the school was a stark reminder of the day's events. It fluttered in the wind, a silent witness to the tragedy. The tragedy was no longer a distant headline. It was now a local reality. The front pages of newspapers bore the grim news, and the town mourned together. The town grappled with the question, how could this happen here? Meetings were held, and the community sought answers and solace. What began as an ordinary day ended in profound loss. The hallways, once filled with life, now stood empty, a testament to the day's events. The unthinkable had happened, and the journey to healing had just begun. The community came together, determined to support one another. Evergreen's story was now one of resilience in the face of tragedy. The town vowed to rebuild and remember, united in their grief and strength. In the anxious hours after the lockdown, the community waited for news, hearts pounding with uncertainty. Parents clung to each other, friends gathered in small circles, and neighbors watched the school from a distance, hoping for any sign of relief. The identities of the injured students were withheld, fueling speculation and worry. Rumors spread quickly, and every unanswered phone call or unread message deepened the fear that gripped the town. The victims weren't just statistics. They were friends, neighbors, and classmates. Each face in the crowd was someone's child, someone's best friend, and the uncertainty weighed heavily on everyone. The next morning, a name emerged, Matthew Silverstone, an 18-year-old senior. His photo appeared on screens and in conversations, and suddenly, the tragedy had a face. His family confirmed his identity, turning the tragedy from abstract to heartbreakingly real. The Silverstones, once just another family in Evergreen, became the center of a community's grief. Matthew was known for his kindness, his art, and his quiet strength. Teachers remembered his gentle spirit, and classmates recalled his willingness to help anyone in need. Memories and stories about him flooded social media, making the loss deeply personal for many. Friends shared photos, teachers posted tributes, and strangers offered words of comfort. He was the boy at the grocery store, the friend in art class, the neighbor with a ready smile. His presence had touched so many corners of the community, often in quiet, unnoticed ways. The community's focus shifted from shock to a fierce hope for Matthew's recovery. Candlelight vigils were organized, and prayers were whispered in every home. He became a symbol of innocence lost and a rallying point for support. People who had never met him now felt connected to his struggle. The numbers faded. A real person, a son and friend, was fighting for his life. The hospital room became a place of both fear and hope, as loved ones kept vigil. Evergreen rallied not just around a school, but around a family and a young man in need. Support poured in from every corner, meals, messages, and donations. The tragedy was no longer faceless. It was Matthew's story and the town's. His journey became a thread that wove the community together in shared sorrow and hope. The call for support became personal, urgent, and united. In the face of heartbreak, Evergreen found its strength in coming together for Matthew and his family. Amid their crisis, as uncertainty and fear swept through their days, the Silverstone family spoke to the community through a heartfelt statement, carefully written and full of emotion. Released by the sheriff's office, their words expressed deep gratitude for the outpouring of support, kindness, and compassion shown by neighbors and strangers alike. "We feel your love, and it is giving us strength during this impossible time," they wrote, their message resonating with everyone who read it. Their message affirmed that every gesture, every prayer, every small act of kindness truly mattered to them. The family's grace moved the town, even as they set gentle but firm boundaries to protect their own healing. They asked for privacy, requesting space to focus on Matthew's recovery and to be together as a family. It was a gentle reminder. Behind the headlines and news stories was a family enduring the unimaginable, trying to find hope. Their request wasn't a rejection, but a necessary shield, a way to protect their hearts as they navigated this ordeal. The statement ended simply, "Please keep Matthew in your thoughts and prayers," a plea that echoed in every home. The community was given a clear way to help, hold hope, respect privacy, and continue to send love from afar. The Silverstones, in their darkest hour, reached out with gratitude and guidance, reminding everyone of the power of unity. Their words became a beacon for how the town could support them best, lighting a path forward through compassion and respect. The Silverstone family's statement was met with deep respect. The community honored their plea for privacy, media kept their distance, and coverage shifted to stories of support. The request for prayers was answered in churches, synagogues, and quiet vigils. These gatherings were somber, focused on hope and healing. Blue ribbons, Evergreen High's color, appeared everywhere, on trees, mailboxes, and storefronts. Businesses displayed messages like "Evergreen Strong" and "Pray for Matthew." The town's unity was visible at every turn. Support was organic, heartfelt, and respectful. People found ways to help without intruding, guided by the family's wishes. The response was empathy in action, a community wrapping its arms around one of its own. No single leader orchestrated it. It was a natural outpouring of care. The town's character shone through in its restraint and compassion. Evergreen's strength was found in quiet, collective support. In the days after the shooting, Evergreen transformed. Blue ribbons multiplied, turning the town into a sea of support. Each ribbon was a silent prayer for Matthew and his family. On the courthouse lawn, people gathered for a candlelight vigil. No speeches, just shared silence. Hundreds stood together, faces lit by candlelight, united in grief and hope. The silence spoke volumes, offering comfort and space for healing. Teenagers, parents, and grandparents stood side by side, determined to support one another. These grassroots acts became the heart of the town's response. The blue ribbons and vigils weren't for show. They were for Matthew and for each other. Evergreen became a living memorial, a beacon of hope in the darkness. Through simple acts, the community found strength and solace. Online, Evergreen's spirit of unity flourished. Social media became a sanctuary. #EvergreenStrong trended with messages of hope, not anger. Students and alumni shared memories, countering the violence with stories of kindness. Blue squares and candle photos filled feeds, connecting those near and far. The digital embrace extended support beyond town borders. Moderators kept online spaces respectful, removing speculation and focusing on healing. Instead of rumors, people shared mental health resources and student artwork. For Evergreen's youth, social media became a lifeline, a place to grieve, connect, and support each other. Online memory boards and group chats offered comfort and solidarity. The digital world, often divisive, became a source of collective healing. The Silverstone family's request for privacy became a guiding principle. The community and media honored it, creating a protective bubble around the family. Sheriff Evans reinforced the plea in every briefing, setting clear boundaries. This respect allowed the family to focus on Matthew's care, free from intrusion. The gift of privacy was the most meaningful support the town could offer. It became a lesson in empathy and digital citizenship, especially for students. Support didn't have to be loud. Sometimes compassion meant quiet respect. The community's restraint was a powerful act of kindness. In honoring the family's wishes, Evergreen found a new way to heal. Privacy became an unspoken promise, woven into the town's recovery. As shock faded, Evergreen looked to the future. The school would reopen, but normalcy was gone. Healing would take time. The community's focus remained on Matthew's recovery, a symbol of hope. Counselors and phased returns were planned to support students and staff. The goal: create a new normal that acknowledged trauma and prioritized well-being. Conversations shifted from fear to connection. Parents, neighbors, and friends reflected on what kind of community they wanted to be. The tragedy prompted a commitment to kindness, awareness, and prevention. The path forward was uncertain, but it would be walked together. Recovery would be slow, requiring patience and ongoing support. In unity and care for Matthew, the town found hope. Evergreen's journey to healing had begun step by step. In the end, Evergreen's story became one of unity. Tragedy drew the town closer, reinforcing bonds of family and friendship. The community refused to be defined by violence, but by its compassionate response. Matthew Silverstone's name became a symbol of hope and resilience. Blue ribbons pledged solidarity. The town stood with the Silverstones. Healing would be long, but the foundation was strong, built on empathy and care. The story continued in silent vigils, respectful distance, and countless acts of kindness. Evergreen chose unity over despair, proving it was shaken but not broken. This is the story of Evergreen, wounded but forever united.